In this video, I want to show you my top 2 dropshipping suppliers to use in 2021 for beginners. I have personal experience with about 5 supplier apps, and at my current level I do about 250 orders a month. So good shipping is important to ensure I spend less time on customer service and more importantly keep customers happy. So just so you know, I'm not BSing about my orders or anything like that. Here we have a screenshot of my phone. I'll try and cut the glare down. And yep, so I made 246 orders in the last 30 days, and that's a typical monthly volume for the last couple months now. Without further ado, let's get to the discussion on suppliers.
All right, so hopefully it's not too noisy. I got some planes in the background, some water running. But anyways, let's dive right into my top 2 suppliers that I'm using for 2021 right now. And let's see. So most people are like top 3, top 5, and use all these, but I want to keep it simple for you. So the 2 suppliers that have stood out from all the suppliers that I've used are CJ Dropshipping and Eprolo. Let's do a quick upsides, downsides of each of these before I really get into the nitty gritty here. So firstly, the upside. CJ's upsides, they immediately update the tracking numbers. Immediate tracking updates. So they upload the tracking info within a day, and this is great for PayPal holds to get your money ASAP. So when you make a new PayPal for your business, what will happen is they usually hold your money until you upload a valid tracking number. And it's better to have a US one, but you could use a CNE Express or other method. But if you can use the USPS one, do it, because it's the best way to get them to release that hold. And after they do 2 or 3 of these, they won't do anymore. Another upside to CJ is easy sourcing. Couple clicks and you're done. Perfect. They also have responsive agents. They will communicate with you the same day on Skype, and they're usually cheapest price. So really good benefits here. The downside is even if if the tracking number is put in, it may be a week before it updates. So I don't have actual delivery data yet with CJ, like current data. I know I said I had it at the beginning of the video, but I only have it for Eprolo. So I have their time frames, but I don't have CJ's yet. So it's currently 6 days in transit. So let me go over to my tracking here. Yeah, the only thing I see of the tracking number they gave me is I ordered it and it hasn't moved since the 6th. It's now the 12th down here. Yeah, that's not looking great, but at least the tracking number is in there, so you'll have less questions from your customer. They might start asking pretty soon, why has it not moved? And then I can try and ask about that. But the best response to that is usually, we're looking into it. It should update in the next couple days. You may have to give them a 10 to 20% refund if they're expecting it for an event or something, and just try and get a couple more days for that number to update. I am expecting an update within a couple days. Another downside of CJ is complicated interface. It takes a bit of time to get the hang of where everything is at. I'll have to show you when I get in there, and you'll understand pretty much immediately what I mean by complicated interface. And you have to manually sync orders to fulfill them. So yeah, you gotta go in and sync your orders in a certain time frame. It's minor, but it's still an extra bit of load time. And you might not be able to source some products immediately and have to communicate with someone to get them and make an SKU. So I had to do that recently. I'm like, look, there's like 10 suppliers on AliExpress with this. Why can't you source it? Because your automatic sourcing failed. And they're looking into it and they're giving me an SKU. It only took a day or so. So that's super nice. So let's go to my second solution, Eprolo. It's an extremely simple interface. I mean, I go in there, there's just a few things to click. I really like how they designed that. I mean, the ease of use is what had kept me with Eprolo so long. The only thing that drove me away was the shipping delays, and most importantly, downside down here. I have a long paragraph here, but most importantly, they don't update numbers forever. That's the only downside to them that I can see right now. So yeah, product sourcing is really simple. You just request it in Skype, link them the product link from AliExpress, and they'll have it within 24 hours hooked up and good to go. And you can just pay for it and your order is processing. And good pricing, usually hard to beat them here. If you mention another sourcing agent is doing it for cheaper, you might be able to get a better deal. No promises here. It's entirely up to them, but usually if you communicate with either CJ or Eprolo, they're pretty flexible about that if you see someone doing a better price. So the major downsides of Eprolo. Usually they take 24 hours or more to get back to you. So unlike CJ, they're a little bit less responsive. And yeah, they're in a different time zone, so that's somewhat understandable. And there's no support whatsoever on weekends. So if you have an order for a new product on Friday, you won't get anything back from them until Monday. So if you're trying to source a product, don't do it late in the week for them. But the major downside of Eprolo, if you use US Express tracking, it may take 9 days to update. Yikes, 9 days to where that thing isn't moving to the customer. It looks like it hasn't shipped, and you're like, oof. And then they contact you. It's like, why hasn't that shipped? Can I cancel my order? And you're like, well, let me check. Now the upside here is Eprolo is great at refunding when it is needed. So if your customer wants to cancel an order and they haven't shipped it out, you can usually contact say, I need to cancel this order, and they're like, great, we'll refund your PayPal, and that's that. But yeah, this 9 days to update the time is yikes. Like I said, I'll show you a number when I get in there. So in the meantime, you may not have to answer customer emails complaining that item has not shipped or even cancel the order. Yep. Still, it's a really big problem that made me to move to CJ overall. Harder to cancel if it already shows shipped. So yeah, if it's already shipped, you can't really cancel it. What you can do is try and get them to return it, which I return it to my own address. And I'll go into more of that later. That's sneak peek of the bonus content, guys. But anyways, let's continue on. So overall, I still recommend these two sourcing solutions for 5 to 10 orders a day. Beyond that, you may want to consider an agent on Upwork or even something like ShipBob for US warehousing. But 5 to 10 orders a day, if you're at that level, Eprolo or CJ is really good. Like I said, I think CJ stands out a bit above Eprolo. And the shipping times for both of these is about 1 to 2 weeks for orders. I'll have to look at Eprolo. I got numbers in just a minute. So let's go look at the actual interface and what we got going in here. So if we're looking at CJ here, my CJ, I got a bunch of orders in here. So this one that was dispatched here, this is the one that I had that hasn't moved in 6 days. So I ordered it on the 5th, and I'll go ahead and look into this even more. I'll go ahead and track the order. And this is the other thing that's somewhat upsetting about CJ. No tracking information found. We'll update once the order is dispatched, but it says dispatched. So that's kind of iffy. That's why I use Parcel App. So https parcelsapp.com or just search parcelapp.com, and I can see it's been in transit for 6 days and it hasn't moved from New Jersey. So it seems like this is a last mile tracking situation. It'll update once it gets to the US. I'm expecting updates tomorrow or the next day. I'll be sure to comment about that. I'll comment update on this, what happens, how long this actually takes. So I don't have any data on CJ how long it's taking, but just the fact that they updated the label within 24 hours is super helpful. And like I said, if we look at their shipping times here, so they update these pretty much weekly with the current things. So ordinary, they got so many shipping things. So this is what part of the reason why I say it's so complicated. There's so many shipping. It's like, well, what do I use? What shipping do I use here? There's like 10 options. So generally you want to use the ordinary. That's like the e-packet in the old days, CJ packet ordinary. I usually use USPS here. So 7 to 13 days. We'll see how accurate that is soon. And the other one I use is CJ packet YW ordinary. And here's my take on the whole issue. It's better to spend a couple dollars more on shipping than deal with the risk of a chargeback or any sort of problems of delivery. So the sooner you can get to your customers, the better, as long as it's not too outrageous. So DHL is great shipping time, but the price is pretty outrageous in most cases. Sometimes you can get away with that if you charge a shipping price of like $10, $15 on your store for the premium shipping, and if I was doing that, I might use DHL. But for most part, if I'm doing premium shipping, I use a US supplier on AliExpress. But yeah, so the 3 shipping methods I use on CJ are CJ Packet Ordinary, USPS, and I generally don't mess with the sensitives. It's up there now. It moved on me. So yeah, I use these 3 top ones up here. These are the ones I usually use for all my orders, and they work out pretty well so far. I'm done here. Now let's look at Eprolo. So I really love Eprolo's interface. I stuck with them forever just because it's so simple to work with. All you have to do is import an AliExpress product or find a product on their site, and it's good to go. And like I said, I go to Skype. You can also communicate with them email. So what you do is when you get to your account here and your dashboard, you can either just message them directly here, or you can go and Skype them here and add that to Skype and just contact them directly through there. I really like Skype. That seems to do super well. They have very good articles on how to get started and how the shipping goes. But the thing that's been bothering me right now is shipping's been a little off. So let me go to order processing here, orders fulfilled. So this order I found is a good one for an example of what's going on. Filter. And this, we can look at the tracking real quick. So here it doesn't look like it was too bad. It shows it was shipped on the 5th and it got there on the 11th. 6 days. Not bad, right? 13 days to arrive. That's actually out of range for their shipping time here. And that's why I've swapped to CJ somewhat recently, is it's out of range of their shipping time. So when you select their shipping time, it gives you, and it allows you to check it, which is really cool. But most of the checks are coming back delayed too. So I don't know if it's COVID happening again or what's delaying these orders more than usual. But orders are slightly delayed. So the 5 to 10 days was more like 13 days. Still, it was close. And like I said, I've rarely had any problems with orders from Eprolo and CJ. The reason I stopped doing CJ back in the day is COVID was super strong. Everyone was updating their shipping. But I think these suppliers, Eprolo and CJ both, came out stronger for the adversity. So they improved their shipping. They're all a bit better. And you might say, well, if it takes 9 days to update US Express shipping, do they do CNE Express a bit better? The answer is maybe. So when I look at CNE Express, so I ordered on the 10th. It's been 2 days. They state a 2 to 4 day processing time, so I don't know yet. I don't have that information. So let's go on a bit here. So the ones I use primarily on Eprolo is US Express, CNE Standard, or no, US Express and CNE Express. Those are 2 I use most commonly on Eprolo. But whenever I can, I try and use US Express because as we move forward in 2021, dropshipping is a bit too famous now. PayPal's banning, or not PayPal's suspending accounts, Google's suspending merchant centers, Facebook's banning stores. Everyone's kind of a bit more on the high alert for dropshipping stores that have long shipping times, and you definitely want US numbers instead of Chinese numbers. Tensions are pretty high in the US about Chinese products anyways, so you definitely want anything that you can to show them that it's not really dealing with China. I mean, sure, it's going to show made in China on the tag, but at least you can give them a US number, and that'll allay a lot of people's concerns. And that about covers Eprolo and CJ. Like I said, you should explore the interfaces, but for the most part, Eprolo is as simple as, hey, I need a product source. All right, short interlude there. Anyways, where was I? Ah, yes. So we're hitting the bonus content. How do you deal with returns? So personally, I just take returns to my home address. And what that allows me to do is I can then ship them out from my home address really quickly. And how I do that usually is I just use USPS click and ship. So I use this website here. You might have to make an account with them. So if you're in the US, you can just use click and ship. And these typically cost around $8. Of course, it depends on your product weight. Mine are pretty lightweight packages. So yeah, you just print the label. You might have to make an account if you don't have one. And yeah, just click and ship. Print the label, put it in the mailbox, and you're good to go. So once I get a return, that's what I do. And For my policy, I usually have them pay for the shipping costs if I can. Sometimes they may push back, and in that case, you can send them a return label. It's only a few bucks on Shopify to do that. So what you do if you had an order, you just say return items. So I won't go here entirely, and then create return, and then you'd create the label, and you just send this link to your customer. That's your return. As for international returns, those are a bit more complicated. I'm still in the process of figuring out. So I got some orders from Australia and Canada, and I had an order returned from Australia. They paid for the shipping, thankfully, but it's about 20 bucks for that. So it might be, I'm still in the process of drafting a return policy for international orders. I want to have them try and pay for it if they can for the most part, but unfortunately international return seems complicated. It might be better just to refund them if they push back against you, or to just resend it if you can afford to. And depending on what is your best option. Like I said, I'm still looking into doing international returns properly. The first one I have ever had paid for it to be returned, which was great. I sent them the exchange they wanted, and it looks like that'll go through fine. But yeah, you want the policy. You may have to experiment with your policy a bit to figure out what's precisely right for you. But ideally, I would say have the customer pay for returns. If the package is damaged, of course, you're going to have to refund. They'll have to provide picture evidence. Hopefully, you can get a refund from the supplier as well. I think that's about all I have for the day. Just a quick review, like I typically do. The top supplier I would use for drop shipping in 2021 would be CJ Dropshipping, just for the immediate updates of the number. As far as shipping speeds, it seems like both Eprolo and CJ have a 2-week turnaround time, so around 14 days. If you have any issues with customers, be sure to reach out to them within 24 hours and reassure them that their order is coming. There's just been some delays. We'll watch it with you for any updates. Be sure to comment and like this video if you want any further content on this. And I'd like to hear your experiences. What are your experiences with other suppliers? Terrible ones to avoid, great ones that may be better than ones I'm using. Of course, the best of all is if you can find any US supplier for your product on AliExpress. Yeah, I know I said it was done, but let's do that real quick. Here's an actual US supplier for this product. You hit US, 4 to 13 days. That's what you're looking for. It can't say via seller's Methood. It can't say via anything else. It needs to be USPS 4 to 13 days. And that's how you know you found an AliExpress supplier. And sorry this video ran a bit long, but like I said, I'd appreciate any sort of feedback you can give, like and subscribe, comment, even if it's like, this is terrible, you need to fix something. But for now, this is Casey signing off, and thanks for watching.